Guten Morgen, Bad Nation. It is the 20th of September 2024, and allegedly this will be for the replay crew. It says we're live, but I don't have a 5x5 in the chat yet. I do, Rodney Whitehead. It says 5x5. So I guess we've started. Good morning, everybody. I'm Bear from the internet, and it is the 20th of September 2024. Today we're going to do the brief and the national intel as sent in by you via email to intel@bearindependent.com. Sound good? Okay, Bear. Awesome. Bertrand, Travis, everybody else in the chat. 5x5. Thanks, y'all. Okay. You guys know the drill. Subscribe, ring the little bell icon for the notifications, comments for the YouTube algorithmic robots, and share the show with somebody you love, please and thank you. More than 40% of the people who watch this show are not subscribed, probably because they're feds. But for the rest of us, please do your job. If you want to be subscribed, make sure you are, because YouTube unsubscribes people from us literally daily. So just make sure you're still subscribed. Every day I get comments like, Bear, I was unsubscribed again. And sometimes people are like, Bear, why did you unsubscribe me? I can't. That only YouTube can do that. And they don't like us. Why? It's election season, and we don't lick the boots of the oligarchy here in the United States of America. Now, the show is brought to you by the creator of the universe, Yahweh, your Elohim, the Lord, your God. It's brought to you by the fine people on Patreon. Link is in the description. $10 a month, economic engine of the Bear Nation, and 5,000 exclusive pieces of content that will never see the light of day on YouTube. And of course, by Refuge Medical, for whom I'm the founder, CEO, chief shilling officer. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, if you look above my shoulder, where normally you would find the Refuge Medical core values, you'll see something that up until yesterday didn't exist. And you see, Jeannie Greer noticed, nice Refuge plate carrier hanging back there. Is that one mine, says Jupiter Mojo? No, there are many like this one, but this one is mine. And we launched these yesterday via the newsletter at Refuge, and more than 60% of the inventory has sold already. So if you need a second witness for, go ahead and get a plate carrier from Refuge, made in America, priced incredibly reasonably. Thank you, Data. Raise them up in the way that they should go, so your coffee will not depart from you when you are older. I think that's biblical. Here's your second witness. Go ahead and hit the store, refugemedical.com. Plate carriers they're flying off the shelves. So, Rickster, sexy plate carrier. With that, let's do the brief. Okay, Bear. Shall we coffee first? Yes, we're going to coffee first. Shadow Stack says, I got mine ordered. So stoked. We'll talk more about the plate carrier later. I'm just giving you guys a heads up now. They may not be there by the end of this brief. Check the store. Jeremy T does not understand perspective. What? Is that a plate carrier for ants? It's smaller than your head. What's this, bro? Oh, what does my shirt say? What does my shirt say? Does my shirt say taxes are gay? Why are you gay? Yes, it does. Hedge fund billionaire John Paulson, a known Donald Trump supporter, said in a CNBC interview that if Kamala Harris's administration enacts their proposed tax plan, then, quote, we'll see a crash in the markets, no question about it. That's fun. So we'll just start with that. Hey guys, if this dumb whore gets elected, expect the markets to crash. Why? Mouth needs more coffee. Yes, it does, Sister Jody. Why? Harris has proposed raising the corporate tax rate by 7%, capital gains tax by 19%, and add an additional tax of 25% on unrealized capital gains. Paulson predicts that if this took effect, it would, quote, cause massive selling of homes, of stocks, of companies, of art, air quote, art, that could put us immediately into a recession. So hopefully that if they are elected, they won't pursue that. Oh, hopefully. Hopefully, if they're elected, they won't do the things they've been saying that they're going to do. Um, the unrealized capital gains of 25%, a lot of people don't quite understand how that works. I'm not the expert in this, but my understanding is, let's say you have a house that goes up in value, market value of $100,000, right? Well, 25% of 100,000. You didn't realize that gain because you didn't sell the house. But that increase in valuation, say from 400,000 to 500,000, you had an unrealized capital gain of $100,000. You would be taxed $25,000 for that unrealized capital gain, even though you didn't sell the house. Now, that's obviously going to negatively impact the housing market and people who own houses and the economy, therefore. But here's another thing that most people aren't aware of that I'm very aware of. There's a reason I'm wearing this shirt. What does this shirt say? Read it. Say it with me. Taxes are gay. Okay. See that? Because I just had a decision that I had to make. Am I going to send the Internal Revenue Service $75,000 plus that exceeds my income for the quarter, or am I going to wear an orange jumpsuit? Yeah. Here's why. Because if you have a business that holds an inventory under the current Biden administration and worse under the Harris administration, yes, I am saying that, Jethro. Are you saying taxes are an abomination to the Creator? I am. You ever read Genesis when the Hebrew slaves had to double their work output, and then Joseph, the taxation had been 10%, 10%, and then it got doubled to 20% during the lean years, or in preparation for the lean years. Okay. 20%. Kamala Harris, just on unrealized capital gains, wants it to be 25%. You pay more taxes. We pay more taxes than slaves did. What does that make you? It makes you a wage slave. But we have so much freedom. This is America. We're free. This country went to war over a 2% tax with the greatest military in the world at the time. And now people give away half of their income to the government, and they're like, it's fine. I have an iPhone and Starlink. Everything's fine. It's not fine. I have several businesses, but we'll just talk about refuge. My inventory under this current regime and perpetuated by the Kamala regime if she gets elected is taxed when I buy it, taxed when I sell it, and then taxed while it's in my building. Because the inventory represents per annum, year over year, unrealized capital gains. Could have sold it, but you didn't. So we're going to tax you on the money that you couldn't make, that you didn't make, but you could have made. Yeah, Kanita Warrior. Yeah, for real. No way. I'm not making this up. It's complete and utter bullshit. Why? Because they want communism actual. They want everybody dependent upon the government. Okay? They want to finish what they started with COVID-19. They started breaking the back of the American middle class and lower classes during COVID-19. They want to finish that process so that they can usher in communism actual. They'll call it by something else. They'll get all these useful idiots, the pink-haired screamos, that'll be rallying around them. This is so good, universal basic income and healthcare, and it's going to be amazing. and they'll implement all these policies, and they'll do what every other communist regime has ever done. They'll starve their people, and they'll kill the useful idiots, and then they will begin to rule with an iron fist, which is part of why they don't want you to have firearms. Or in some states right now, like Connecticut and New York being a couple of them, they don't want you to have body armor. They're working on a national body armor ban and a gas-operated rifle ban again after the AK-47. Was it an SKS? Was it a Dragunov? Probably an SKS incident with Donald Trump at his golf course. They don't want you to have these things because it'll be harder for you to fight back. Fight back against who? The government. But I digress. So, smart guy John Paulson told CNBC that Kamala's proposed taxes would, quote, put us immediately into a recession. So hopefully that if they are elected, they won't pursue that, end quote. It does not appear that any economist or economic strategist from any major firms believe the impact would be quite that dire, though they do believe that it could reduce the S&P 500 company earnings, impacting price shares. Still, Paulson said, quote, it depends on the policy. If Harris is elected, I would pull my money from the market. I'd go into cash and I'd go into gold because I think the uncertainty regarding the plans they outlined would create a lot of uncertainty in the markets and likely lower the markets. Money sounds like what? Stephen Piot. I lost all my farms in that boating accident. I didn't lose any of my farms in a boating accident. I know exactly where they are, and I know exactly how to use them. While politics will influence at least the markets, Fed Chair Jerome Powell will influence the economy, no matter who inherits it after the election. Now, according to expectations, the Federal Reserve has lowered its benchmark interest rate by 0.5 percentage point in an aggressive shift from beating down inflation to the protection of the American job market. This is double the size of a normal, air quote, reduction. Powell told reporters, quote, we're not saying mission accomplished or anything like that. I have to say, though, we're encouraged by the progress we have made, end quote. He also said, quote, the U.S. economy is in a good place, and our decision today is designed to keep it there, end quote. My question would be regarding the economy, a good place for who? A good place for them? Or a good place for us? It doesn't feel like a good place for us, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't know about y'all. You feel like the economy is really working for you right now? This is the first rate cut since 2020, and it's expected that this year alone may see another 0.5 percentage point drop, and then another full percentage point in 2025. This pace is more aggressive than previously predicted. But then the annual inflation rate dove rather sharply as well to 2.5% last month. Now, inflation is a compounding thing. And as we've discussed previously, okay, the rate of inflation is down, but that means there's still inflation. It's like I'm getting fatter, I'm gaining weight. I'm just not gaining weight as fast. Okay. You're still spiraling out of control. You're still a pudgy piece of shit. You're just not becoming a pudgy piece of shit as fast as you were last week. Okay. So you went from eating like 2 cartons of ice cream every night after work to 1 carton of ice cream every day after work. It's still a problem. It's maybe not as bad as it was, but it's still a problem. Well, unemployment has crept up to 4.2%. Why are the words not working today, y'all? Time to get asset heavy and cash poor, says Stephen. And I agree with that. And I agree with that because that's my personal current state of affairs anyway. So I have no choice but to agree with that. I'll tell you this from a business standpoint, revenue, like cash flow and cash reserves are king right now. And if it's that case in a business, I would submit it's probably that way on the personal side as well. maintaining adequate cash flow, and having adequate cash reserves. And then, of course, because we're into preparedness, I would submit also having those assets that we've discussed that aren't just shiny pieces of metal or, dull, annealed pieces of metal, um, but that are, all the things: buckets of food, your med, commo plan, homies, transpo, logistics, fuel, backup generation, etc., 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 etc. Let's see. Because it takes at least 12 months before consumers actually feel the lower impact of interest rates, we're going to have to wait and see. Has the election this year influenced the Fed's decision? According to Powell, quote, "Our job is to support the economy on behalf of the American people. And if we get it right, this will benefit the American people very significantly. So we don't put up any other filters. If you start doing that, I don't know where you stop," end quote. Back in July, he had said, quote, "This is my fourth presidential election at the Fed. Anything we do before, during, or after the election will be based on the data, the outlook, and the balance of risks," end quote. I don't know about all that. All right, that's the written brief. We're going to oh my gosh, this operation in Israel just keeps going. There's a lot of people saying right now that this is the opening salvo, if you will, in what is going to become a war between Israel and Lebanon. And I think it's important to differentiate Lebanon from Hezbollah. I think you guys and girls are tracking. They did the pager thing and then they did the radio thing, which is brilliant. There's evidence that this operation has been in effect they've been planning this for over 15 years. The radios that exploded were sourced a minimum of 3 years ago. What I find amazing is that they implemented all of this and then had the discipline to sit and wait until it was time to use it. And so Hezbollah, or Hezbollah, depending on who you are and where you live, issued a directive not that long ago. Hey, we're being targeted with our cell phones. Now, I want everybody to remember that. We're being targeted with our cell phones. They are gathering up our location data. They know where we are. And our commo is not secure. So no more cell phones. We're going to go old school technology. Now, who targeted their cell phones? Probably Mossad with some help with some friends from the intelligence community here in the United States. So they ditched their cell phones because their people were getting schwacked because of location data from cell phones. Then they go to pagers. Well, the pagers begin exploding, right? Roughly 8 to 12 people dead, 2,750 people injured. And I think the death toll is actually higher than that, significantly higher than that, because where do people carry pagers? Around their pelvic girdle. So then the pagers blow up. So then they're like, shit, go to the radios. But then they go to the radios, and then the radios blow up. Something like 1,800 people injured or killed by the radios. Where did the pagers and the radios come from? They came from some French company, what do they call it? Technology companies like La French Intelligence Technicale or something like that. Well, that's a front company set up by Mossad. The address listed for that company is like literally an apartment that has a piece of paper hanging on a window that says La French Technologie. Yeah, it's a front company run by Mossad. The radios were allegedly ICOMs, but ICOM hasn't produced that model of radio in the last decade. And these radios were purchased 3 years ago. And the explosives, the PETN that was inside of the radios and the pagers was so well hidden that even when Hezbollah scanned all these devices with X-ray imaging, they didn't see anything out of place. That same French technology company also sold Lebanon a whole bunch of charge controllers for solar systems, a whole bunch of programmable logic controllers for the oil and gas industry, a bunch of other things. So there's probably going to be a bunch of other pieces of infrastructure exploding in Lebanon in the relatively near future. Hezbollah was estimated to have about 30,000 fighters, and between the radio and pager op thus far, about 1/6 to 1/4 of their fighters are currently out of commission already. It doesn't matter what your politics are. It doesn't matter what you think about this. It's a brilliant operation, and the suspicion is the the good money is on Israel is about to launch a full-blown war targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon. Again, doesn't matter what your politics are. It's brilliant. And then I was talking about this on Pelt last night, Patreon exclusive live stream Thursday. They also get all of this location data from all of these explosions, because the explosions of the pagers, they're all very similar, right? And so algorithmically, they all have the same signature. And so using something as simple as an ISR drone, they can fly overhead, analyze, take the imagery, run it through an AI filter, and identify where all these explosions took place, and look for concentrations of explosions that then go into a target packet to say, for some unknown reason, 132 pagers blew up right here. Okay. And 43 radios blew up right here. All right, people were concentrated here. Why? So it's not just the degradation of the fighting capability of Hezbollah and a huge psychological impact. It also, from a command and control standpoint, is a decapitation strike, because they can't communicate now unless it's face to face or passing messages, literally handwritten messages. And who knows, maybe they have pens that explode as well. It also gives them location data on where people were amassing. It's brilliant. So there's lots of news outlets this morning basically positing that Israel is about to go to war directly with Hezbollah in Lebanon. And the United States State Department is warning I believe it's about 50,000 Americans that are currently in Lebanon. Hey, it's time to GTFO. You need to get out of there. So that's something to just be aware of. It's a little spicy over there. I like it. I like it. It's brilliant strategy. And how many of Israel's other enemies, again, push your politics aside and just think, how many of Israel's other enemies are reconsidering whatever designs on Israel they had this morning, going, you know what, Ahmed, I don't think we should anymore. I think we just play a wait and see game. I don't really want to have my testicles blown off by a pager. So we're just gonna press pause. We're just gonna wait and see. Just see what happens. All right, cool. What else we got? I do want to give a quick shout out to the Professional Citizens Project, Jack Morris. He sent me for review the entirety of their books currently. So Professional Citizen Manual 1, individual tactical skills. Well written, reads kind of like the Ranger Handbook, hand and arm signals, care under fire, small unit tactics, compass, topo maps, blah, blah, blah. So that's cool. That's book 1. Book 2, reconnaissance. Yeah, good stuff in here. Book 3, the Teenage Prepper Manual. That's pretty cool. Book 4, Land Nav, right here, Professional Citizens Project. And book 5, Adverse Conditions and Environments. So he sent these to me for me to read and review. I haven't even started, but I intend to work my way through them, and I did want to just give him a quick shout out. So you guys can check those out. I follow them on Instagram. Cool peeps. We're going to do the national intel next, but before we do, I'm going to very briefly show you the Refuge plate carrier. Okay. Good morning, Purposeful Prepper. All right. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. This is the Refuge plate carrier. Okay. So, lightweight, designed to be run slick, or you can build it out. Also has the dangler option. You can run an OpFac or an ARC, or you can modify an SOB to hang off the dangler. 3-mag shingle up front, adjustable cummerbund, big loop field on the back. Stay tuned. We have more. There will be a back panel that can go here, basically like a large zip up pouch. You can run med, commo, water bladder, whatever inside of here. Also compact. It is very adjustable. It fits me. 3-mag shingle across the front, and then in the cummerbund on the sides, you can run an additional 3 mags on either side. So as set up right here, it'll run 9 mags as shown, or you can slap a radio in one of those pockets, or pistol mags, or whatever else you want. And it's made in America, and it's $199. That's correct, Odin Duvall. And if you compare this with other American-made plate carriers, it's at least $100 less than what everybody else is charging. And it is adjustable. You can get out of it quickly if you're doing maritime ops and you fall in the water. These shoulder pads right here, these pull back, and then you can undo. Does it come with plates? No, Montana Mike, it doesn't. You put your plates in there. You can get out of the shoulder straps like so. It doesn't have what is all the rage these days of the plastic quick release buckle things. There are no buckles on this anywhere that's going to rub on your body, and that's done intentionally because as a guy who does a fair amount of PT and plate carriers, I frigging hate those buckles. I hate the buckles up here because they rub. Not a fan at all. And I hate the buckles down here in the cummerbund because they rub. And so if you need to get out of this, you rip the shingle up, pull the cummerbund off, you're out. Okay. Now it's designed initially, it's scalable. It's supposed to be run slick, low vis. You can run it underneath the clothing. You can wear it underneath a hoodie. It's very compact, very lightweight. Nobody knows you have it on. Okay. But if you want to scale up, you can add the 3-mag shingle or anybody else's shingle to the front of it because it's got the same mounting points as anybody else's plate carriers does. So if you want to run whoever's different mag shingle across the front, double stack, pistol mags, whatever you can. And then the cummerbund, you don't have to put anything in it, and it's stretchy, just like the ankle kit is. So it has a little bit of give to it. So it's very, very comfortable. Okay, making it in black. It's available in black right now, Stephen P. at refugemedical.com. Like I said, we launched this in a newsletter yesterday. And between yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening when I went to bed, approximately 60% of the inventory had sold out. They're going to go. They're just going to go. There will be other cummerbunds available in the future. There'll be more accessories available in the future. But as for right now, that's what we're running with on our Gen 1. And I love it. Is it FSA, HSA? It is not, because it's not medical equipment. And I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with that. Roger that, Iridium. That's the international insurance apparatus determines what HSA and FSA eligible is. And since it's not a first aid kit, it's not FSA or HSA eligible. You can, though, at checkout, as you're selecting the little boxes on this product page, you can add the dangler and an OpFac to it if you want. I've got an OpFac right here. Click this, OpFac, good to go. All right. So that's at refugemedical.com. Comes out of the same sew shop that we have that's under my roof that makes everything else. If you need a carrier, want a carrier, check it out. Smallest waist size that it will accommodate. I think you could easily go down to like a size medium. All the details are on the website. Bob and I are two very different sized people, and it adjusts down comfortably on Bob, and it adjusts up comfortably on me. What plates would you recommend? That's a matter of budget. I run ceramics. I do have steel plates, but I run ceramic level fours. Um, I have ceramic level fours, and then I have poly level fours. And the poly level fours are way lighter, and they're also incredibly expensive. And the only reason I have polys is somebody gave them to me for T&E, and I was like, I said, "Hey, here's the deal. I'm not shooting these because I want them." And they were like, "Okay, well, you just hang on to them then." I was like, "Cool." So if you sold it stuff with first aid stuff, would it be eligible? Well, no, Stray Kitten. I've tried that. I trust me, we've tried to play these games. And what ends up happening is we try and play these games, and then your FSA or HSA will go through and allow you to purchase it. And then when the insurance company that provides that service to you audits your shit 3 months later, they say denied. And then 3 months later, you're having to come out of pocket for something that you put on your HSA but wasn't actually HSA. And then you're calling my store saying, "Hey, is there any way I can return this because it's not HSA?" Trust me, we've already we've already tried to play these games. The answer is no. The answer is no. You put whatever plates you want to put inside of there. Plates are and plate carriers are a very personal thing. And they're also budget is a huge factor in these. Those poly plates that I've got are like $2,400 a plate, which is why I wasn't going to shoot them. And I didn't buy them. I was given them. But I like level fours. I like rifle rated plates. So, anywho, that's the carrier. It's available at refugemedical.com. Go check it out. And I would, just based upon current trends, I would act now. So, shall we do the bonus intelligence? Yes, we shall. How does the plate carrier fit on wifey? Dude, not all wives are created equal. They have different body shapes just like men do. It, all the details are at refugemedical.com. Go check it out. Kelly Hansen, the lithium batteries were not what was blowing up. Lithium catches on fire, it doesn't explode. All of the devices had plastic explosives inside of them. So, bonus intel. At my local ham radio meeting last night, there was a long discussion about the transition of the county law enforcement and fire from VHF, very high frequency radios, to 800 megahertz trunked systems. Apparently, they bought the radios, but did not understand the infrastructure repeaters needed to support the new system. Early testing shows the system works in town within 5 miles of the tower. The county, obviously, is much larger than just one town, and the pine forests that surround the town simply absorb the RF energy. As soon as they get out of town, law enforcement and fire can no longer communicate with dispatch or the emergency operations center. Law enforcement and fire unions refuse to enter a situation that is uncertain because they can't receive updates from dispatch. The county used money from a federal grant to purchase radios, but there is no money in the budget for the repeaters and tower maintenance, and they've already sold the old VHF radios. They are trying to get VHF radios back now. Just a reminder that Kamo is king and no one is coming to save you. Next, I've written in before regarding my work in A&D manufacturing. And after Bear's opining on the 16th September brief on why the big they, would want to kill Trump, I thought I could add a data point. Regarding the manufacture of large single-use items with military applications, munitions, bombs, large enough that they have to be wheeled around on trucks, one of our customers recently indicated that demand for our components could go up by a factor of 10 in early 2025. When the customer was asked if they could provide any purchase orders or a forecast for that demand that we could start planning to, the customer said that they could not do that and stated that demand for this project could go away entirely based on the outcome of the presidential election. It's not hard to extrapolate from there which way the election would have to go for the demand to drop off entirely for these systems, or that certain people and organizations stand to lose a lot of money depending on how the election goes. Oh, the military industrial complex is trying to kill the former president and likely future president. Because if the former and future president, who was and is to come, there's that phrase, gets killed, then they don't get to have their wars overseas. Interesting. Today, I was at a PrepperNet meetup in San Antonio, Texas. During that meeting, I had a conversation with a gentleman from Reddit's former person on the board, Bexar County Emergency Management. Below is a highlight from the conversation I thought I would share with you. It is in the format I texted to friends. So, I was having a conversation today with a gentleman who was working with Bexar County Emergency Management. He said that they did a survey circa 2019. First scary number, 500,000 people in the county do not have means to prepare past tomorrow because they are below the poverty level. Second scary number is 1.7% of the total amount of people are prepared for a 72-hour or greater event. 1.7% of people. High population density areas. You live in a place that has a bunch of people. Only 1 in 50 people, 1 in 60 people is prepared for 72 hours or more. That means everybody else is part of the problem. Next, the McAllister Ammunition Plant, McAllister, Oklahoma. They make everything from 500-pound dumb bombs to the Moab. Massive air ordnance blast, aka mother of all bombs. Massive ordnance air blast, whatever it is. They make all of that. Oh, their artillery shells like crazy. The McAllister Ammunition Plant just had a job fair where they hired 40 new people. Sounds to me like the Army is fixing to ramp up some serious ammo production. Yep. And to the person earlier who was talking about, there's going to be a 10x demand on bombs and missiles if a certain president is elected. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. I will tell you, insider baseball and the trauma medicine space, we are yet again getting to the point where components are very hard to get a hold of. Tourniquets, pressure bandages, wound packing gauze, hemostatics, chest seals, just the major food groups, they're getting scarce again. And who's currently doing the buying? It's not the DoD. It's federal agencies. Just the FBI just had another huge order go out, being fulfilled by a different company, a company that doesn't have a great reputation, but whatever. They just had a huge order go out. ATF has been procuring lots of trauma med stuff. Border Patrol has, 11,000 plate carriers and IFACs for Border Patrol. There was just a requisition for. There's a lot of agencies, federal agencies, and to a lesser extent, state agencies buying all the trauma med stuff now. Last year it was DoD. This year it's domestic agencies. It's weird. It's an anomaly in the data. So that's just something to be aware of. From a supply chain standpoint, the ability to get what you need is going to be hampered. And see, companies that, let's say you have Bill's Tourniquet Company, right? And you provide tourniquets to the DoD, Department of Defense. Those contracts have primacy, meaning that if Bear wants to buy 1,000 tourniquets from Bill's Tourniquet Company, you can't sell them to me until you have fulfilled your contracts with the federal government. It's as simple as that. And so it creates the supply for the civilian market dries up when big contracts like that come through, because none of the manufacturers can provide anything to the civilian market until the DoD contracts are fulfilled. Okay. We're seeing, I'm just insider baseball. I'm just telling you this again. We're seeing that again now, but it's not the DoD. The DoD, Department of Defense, bought literal metric shit tons of all kinds of trauma med stuff last year. And that was in large part due to Israel and Ukraine. This year, it's federal agencies. Now, it's also an election year. I don't know if it's, causation versus correlation. I don't know. But a lot of stuff is being bought up by the feds right now. Like, a lot. So put that in your mental calculus. What's up, Ducks? The nautical term is buttload. Yeah, a buttload of stuff. All right, next from the National Intel. I just wanted to add a comment to the last Intel brief input from the person in Northeast Florida. It was mentioned that their dad was in the hospital and was almost administered the drug remdesivir. If this is a concern to anyone in the Bear Nation, there is a possibility hospitals are starting to refer to it by its commercial name, Veklury, Veklury. Not sure if that is significant, but I've heard that hospitals are using that name because too many people know the prior name, remdesivir. Oh, that's fun. Next, had an interesting view at lunch over my work AO in Southeast Michigan, 12 September. Was startled by a rather large plane flying low from my back. Usually there are some business jets on a long final, or on occasion we get helos traveling to and from National Guard playgrounds. The plane was large, low, and banking heavily. 2 minutes later, the same plane, same thing. I got on my flight radar app and found the plane was squawking. It was a Navy Poseidon P-8. Isn't that sub-hunting? Or a Boeing 737. It was dispatched out of Jacksonville. It did a total of 6 tight loops for a plane that size, evidently looking for land submarines way outside of its normal AO. Meat Puppet, Super Chat. Speaking of transportation infrastructure as a trucker, I can tell you right now we are still not back to where we were before, and we've lost more than half a dozen trucking companies. Yep, correct. Thank you for the Super Chat. David Brenner, 16 gauge needle. David said a 16 gauge needle is what's used to decompress a punctured lung, i.e., sucking chest wound under third finger over rib, cause under veins. No, David. No. First of all, it's a minimum 14 gauge catheter. 10 gauge is the new recommendation from Committee on TCCC, but 14 gauge will work. And then next, it has nothing to do with a punctured lung. It has to do with what's called a closed tension pneumothorax that can cause an internally punctured lung from blunt force trauma to something like a broken rib. But that's not a sucking chest wound, because a sucking chest wound is an open pneumothorax. And then over the third finger over the rib, posterior, it's between the second and fourth intercostal space midclavicular line. And it's a 14 gauge catheter, minimum 3 3/4 inches long, which is why you have to have funny numbers and letters after your name in order to be taught this, because if you do it wrong, you will put the needle and therefore the catheter either into the lung or into the heart and kill the person that you're trying to needle decompress. And the needle decompression is only used for a closed tension pneumothorax. It's not used for an open pneumothorax or an open tension pneumothorax, because we already have a hole in the pleural space, which we fix with chest seals on the box. which is why everybody should go watch the freaking trauma medicine playlist free at this channel and come to class, because it's shit like that that gets people killed. Ugh. Thank you, y'all, for letting me see that comment in the chat. It's not a game, people. And it's not like you will not rise to your level of expectation. You will fall to your level of training. And if you have not been trained, adequately trained, you will make the problem worse, not better. Okay? I just posted a video yesterday. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube, on upcoming refuge medical class dates for everything from mommy and me bleeding control classes for ages 7 and up that it's taught at the level, literally explain like I'm 5 level, with a mini responder little obstacle course where these kids have to problem solve and render some light aid, some light reps and sets on their mom or dad, whoever they come to class with, versus refuge essential responder 2-day stress-based training, scenario-based training, like badass class, from all the way from kindergarten up to college level. All that stuff is at refugemedical.com under the training tab. If you don't know, don't do it. And I mean no. Like, you've been trained and you have the automaticity to do it with your fingers under stress in the dark, then you don't know. Then don't do it. And certainly don't put out bad information. Okay? Next. I'm a country Australian, NSW resident. NSW, Naval Special Warfare? I don't know what NSW means in Australia. North, south, west, west, south, north? I don't know. New South Wales? Is that what it is? New South Wales? I received a call today which identified as originating from within New South Wales area code. The automated call stated, quote, epidemic alert. If Australian citizen, press 1. If Chinese exchange student or something else Chinese, I can't remember, press 2. I pressed 1 and the call terminated. This could be nothing, but I am aware that China are ready to take Taiwan. Australia is allied with America in protecting Taiwan from China. When China attacks, Australia is immediately drawn in. True. And we've been talking about this ad nauseum. The United States is currently supporting Ukraine, aka laundering money for the DNC and building up the stock portfolio of the military-industrial complex in Ukraine. The United States is currently supporting the war that Israel has against its enemies in the Middle East. And the United States is probably going to get drawn into a war before 2027 in the South China Sea. That's a 3-front war, homies. We have sworn testimony in front of Congress from the Joint Chiefs of Staff that we cannot perpetuate anything more than a 1-front war currently. And it has always been America's goal to be able to fight 2-front war at any time, anywhere in the world. And we can't currently do that. And now we're looking at opening up a 3rd front. Get the shit you need and get trained, whatever it is. I bought a brand new AR-15. Did you zero it? What loading are you using? Can you actually shoot the damn thing? Does it have a weapons light and a sling on it? Do you know how to aim it? Can you shoot it with irons? No, I just slapped an optic on there. Is the optic zeroed? Do you know how to fire and maneuver? Do you have other homies to maneuver with? What kind of battle rattle should I get? Does it matter? Does it? You look at one magazine. It's like 223 steel cased 55 grain first round. Second round 5.56 by 45 millimeter annealed 62 grain. Next round 68 grain soft point. Next round brass 5.56 55 grain. Next round steel case 223. Next round after that, you just grabbed a handful of random ammunition and stuffed it in your magazine. All those have different zeros. Every one of them. Why does the zero matter? Because you're accountable for every round that comes out of the end of that gun. Can you actually hit what you're aiming at? Bear, does the plate carrier fit big fat guys? No. It fits me, and I'm a big fat guy. And I need to be less fat than I currently am, because move is a survival skill. Fat guys shouldn't be wearing plate carriers. Yeah, because move is a survival skill. Because the plate carrier doesn't matter if you can't move, because you're gonna get shot to shit. Yeah, the plates protect your heart and your lungs, but there's a hundred other places you can get shot on your body, including your head, that will kill you like that. That the Everybody hyperfixates on the dumbest shit when it's like, if you would just do PT, train with your shit, go out into the woods and train with your shit, sweat until sweat is pouring off of your body, and then do it again. Do it harder. Look for opportunities that suck. Oh, it's going to be cold and raining. Go train in that. Sorry. You need to train. You will not rise to your level of expectation. You will fall to your level of training. And if all you have is the occasional dry fire with your handgun, that's what you got. But know that. That's what you got. If all you have is one good 20-yard sprint, that's what you got. But see, the opportunity exists now, and it is closing now for you to get the things you need to get and train with them before you can no longer do that, before they're unavailable for purchase, or it's illegal to do so, or you're just scraping by because the economy has fallen and people can't afford basics like food and utilities. You're losing the opportunity. You're squandering the opportunity, and most people are. It's not even on their radar. You don't understand, Bear. I got a job and I've got kids and I've got, yeah, me too. Me too. I have 7 jobs. 7. And I find time to train. So excuses are lies. Other info from Oz. By the way, thank you for writing in from Australia. If we have other Bear nationals from around the world, I want everybody's intel, domestic and international, but I'm especially interested in the international intel because we don't get good reporting on it here in the United States. And what we do get is filtered through the lens of propaganda. So that's why intel at bearindependent.com. I want what you're seeing, what you're hearing with your eyes and your ears. Other info. China considers Australia their southernmost serfdom state. China has had a map of Australia on their wall, top half colored in red, unconfirmed. China owns 2 private harbors in Australia, one in Adelaide, where the Navy contracts are to be built for submarines, and one in the Northern Territory. China owns 3 airports in Australia. China owns at least 20% of the landmass of Australia. China has bought our politicians. Australia ships our coal to China, who stores it and burns the rest for power. Australia also exports our fuel. We don't keep it. China fired an ICBM intercontinental ballistic missile over Australia last year, and it landed in the Bass Strait, confirmed by upper serving military personnel and ex-military personnel, of whom was active in anti-poaching as of 2023 overseas. At the same time, China fired multiple ICBMs over Japan. Only one source provided this info. This source has multiple higher tier connections in the military. Was informed earlier this year that multiple people from 2016 to 2018 who lived in the northern QLD, Queensland district, were getting visions of a tidal wave flowing through Australia from the very northern tip of Australia, flooding down south. The source who provided that info left northern QLD at that time and is not in contact with the people up there. I understand people were leaving northern QLD and relocating south. Australia has a standing infantry of 4,000 to 5,000 personnel. That's it, plus reservists. Australia has 5 warships. 1 is active, with FIFO naval officers to keep it running. Australia has 5 submarines, outdated, all now active. Australia cannot protect or surveil its northern shoreline and relies on contractors on horseback to patrol when they take the contract, as well as flying drones periodically from northern Western Australia to cover northwestern Australia and the shoreline of the Northern Territory. Essentially, we are in for a rough ride. Australia is ripe and ready for the official takeover. Australian politicians have rolled over. Elohim be with you as we move forward in these last days, proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom of heaven. Yahovah bless you. Amen. Just a heads up, the ports are about to shut down. My cousin is a dock worker. He told me to stock up on anything I need or am running low on. Says Sandman90. Thank you for the super chat. Woo! Doggone it. I just pre-ordered my plate carrier. If it won't fit me, it'll fit my husband. I don't want to miss out. I love it. Thank you, doggone it. So your intel, please. Intel@bearindependent.com. Remember, we talked about Wednesday. Rumen Humant thus far has not been corroborated by a second or multiple sources, but Janet Huckabee has deployed the Arkansas National Guard to Washington, D.C., active beginning 1 October. That's 10 days away. Why? What other National Guard units have been deployed to Washington, D.C.? Why? I think we're going to get fences around the White House again. I think the Democratic regime is beginning to understand they can't actually win, and the people have finally had enough. I think we're in for a rough ride, boys and girls. I think we're going to see COVID-esque type situations coming in between now and November, or we have the potential to see COVID-esque type situations in between now and November. And I don't mean because of the flu. I mean because of societal unrest and tyranny actual is fixing to happen again. And that's part of why the economy has been allowed to be so bad for so long, because if you're struggling just to get by, you can't pay attention to the big picture. You're stuck in the tactical. You can't even contemplate the strategic. So do the things, Bear Nation. Get the things you need to have. Not consumerism. Don't just buy a bunch of shit you don't know how to use, but get the things you need to have and then train with them. Inventory your preps. I'd start going through the motions. We are, November 5th? So we got 10 days, 40 days. We got 45 days, a month and a half. We got a month and a half to Election Day. Whew. 6 weeks. Be on your A game. Be on your A game. Now, Grindstone Ministries. Kyle, our executive director of Grindstone Ministries, just went to Houma, Louisiana to go check on the storms there. And part of why he went was to bring a $10,000 check to a ministry called Just the Crumbs. And we have run into Just the Crumbs on multiple deployments. It's one guy who's out there with a food trailer, just loving on people, feeding people, preaching the gospel. And he bankrolls himself out of his own pocket and random donations that came in. And so Kyle drove down there to survey the damage and to drop a check off to that gentleman and so that he can continue doing what he's doing. And we couldn't do that without y'all. So thank you very, very much for supporting Grindstone Ministries. Sometimes when storms happen, the aftermath doesn't rise to the level required to deploy Grindstone. But there are still other NGOs, other 501c3s who are there doing the requisite work to assist the affected population. And when we find little people, little ministries that are bootstrapping, that's just so near and dear to our hearts, because that's us too, right? And so rather than deploying Grindstone, that gentleman was gifted a $10,000 check from y'all so he can continue feeding people and preaching the gospel. And that's just a beautiful thing. So thank you for that. If you want to deploy with Grindstone Ministries when we do go after tornadoes and hurricanes, because storm season is approaching, sign up at grindstoneministries.com. There's also a bunch of new swag there, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, all that, all of which supports our operational expenses at Grindstone. Then I've been asked to remind people that Grindstone has a YouTube channel, And we're currently trying to get over 1,000 subscribers. So if you could go subscribe to the Grindstone Ministries YouTube channel, I would very much so appreciate that. Caleb House, Caleb with a K.org, calebhouse.org, counter trafficking ministry. We actually do stuff. On the construction side, we need paint. So if you have paint or would like to give Caleb House paint, please holler at us, admin@calebhouse.org. What else? Barndo is about 3 weeks away from being completed, which is awesome because then that gives us a place for the caretaker to exist. We have volunteers who will be on site for the next couple of weeks that are working on perimeter fencing and doing some land clearing, saw team stuff for us. Care House 1 is set, and the interior build out is almost complete. Probably another 2 to 4 weeks there for interior completion there. There's an existing structure on property that needs to get demolished, so that's slated. And then we are currently fundraising for concrete for the administrative building. The admin building is a big chunk, y'all, and now it's required to have the admin building. Part of what the admin building is it's offices on site for our white collar professionals, our doctors, our nurses, our trauma therapists, our attorneys, so that they can come to property and have an office there so that the people in our care don't have to go to them. That's one, a logistics thing, and two, an operational security thing, right? And so providing offices for them on site. It's also an intake facility. The intake facility, per the Department of Homeland Security, somebody cannot immediately enter into long-term care. They have to go into a short-term facility first, what's commonly called a 23-hour facility, and then they could go into long-term care. And so the intake facility is essentially, think about like a hotel suite in the admin building, right? And so it's a place for them to come in, get assessed. Part of that is what's called a SANE exam, which is essentially a rape kit, as well as provide their testimony, sworn testimony, an opportunity to collect evidence with a clear chain of custody to law enforcement, so that we can get meaningful convictions on bad guys. And so that's part of the admin building as well. And then, conference room, mechanical room, security room, and also quarters for the on-site director of care, which is required per 3 different federal agencies. To build all of that out is right at 7 figures, right at $1 million, 100,000 of which is concrete, just concrete. So at Caleb House, we now have stickers, and the stickers are $50 a piece. The sticker doesn't cost $50, but it's a donation to Caleb House. And so the inventory of stickers is matched to the amount of money that we need to raise for that particular line item. So one of the stickers is pour the concrete. And our push right now, fundraising with Caleb House, not only am I fundraising for the field teams who are overworked, outnumbered, have an exponentially growing caseload, who are underpaid, and who are low on equipment. Their morale is high, and they're amazing human beings. Praise the Father for that. But I need vehicles, and I need cash flow for the field teams. But I also need to pour a shit ton of concrete for the admin building. And so there are stickers you can purchase at calebhouse.org if you would like to support the mission. There's also online giving there. And if the Spirit convicts you, please consider recurring monthly donations for both Grindstone and Caleb House. Let's see. What else? I already talked about Refuge Medical. Plate carrier is up. What else? Kits. Kits are HSA, FSA eligible. Don't sleep on the buckets either. Wound care buckets, surgical suite buckets, postpartum buckets, birthing buckets. They're great preps to have. They'll last indefinitely inside of those buckets. If you get all 4 of those buckets, you've basically got a field hospital. or beginnings of a field hospital right there. Wound care bucket, surgical bucket, birthing bucket, postpartum bucket. And then, all the kits from a boo-boo kit up to a stomp bag, SEAL Team Operational Medical Pack, are HSA, FSA eligible, made in America, guaranteed forever, 136 lives saved to date. And so if you need a real first aid kit with phenomenal customer service and real human beings with a real ethos to save lives while in service to the Father's kingdom and experience the abundance of his provision and blessing, come see us. There are other air quote competitors in this space who may have us beat on price, but that's because it's not an apples to apples comparison. They use shit nylon manufactured with slave labor in China, and they use shit medical components, and they have shit customer service, and it's not even a comparison. We, on the other hand, care. We, on the other hand, understand that what we do matters, and there's 136 people that got to go home again and tell their kids that they still love them or kiss their wife again. 136 people that aren't dead because we showed up to work. And if you have any questions, what kind of kit should I get? This tourniquet or that tourniquet? What colors of it? Any questions you have, you can call the number on the website. You can email us via the contact on the website or use the live chat on the website. Yesterday was amazing. There were so many people on the store using the live chat when the plate carrier launched. My phone did not stop buzzing for like 2.5 hours straight. It was awesome. Use the live chat. You never know who you're going to get in a live chat, but I promise you it's a real person, not AI. Oftentimes it's me. Okay. So if you have any questions, just reach out to us. Help us help you. We are here to serve you. We are here to solve whatever problems we can solve with Refuge Medical or Grindstone Ministries or Caleb House or Bear Independent. However we can help you. That's the whole point of this endeavor for the preservation of life. So please don't be afraid to reach out to us. So that's the show for today. Shall we pray? Yes, we shall. Oh, good morning, Father Yahweh. Father, thank you for everything. Thank you for the fact that we even exist, that you set us aside before we were born, that you know every hair on our head, that you have a perfect plan for us and for our lives. And thank you for loving us and pursuing us anyway when we've run away from you or snubbed our nose at you or ignored you, that you just relentlessly pursued us and loved us beyond comprehension, and that you would redeem us to return us to your most blessed path, Father, to put us back where we're supposed to be and remake us as who we were intended to be in the first place before the world got a hold of us and just messed it all up. Father, thank you for bitachon, for complete and total trust in you and utter reliance on you for everything. Provision and protection and blessing and healing and conviction. Thank you for 1,000 miracles a day we're too stupid to realize. Thank you for being a good Father. Father, thank you for making a way for us to come home again by the blood of the Lamb. Father, thank you for the word of our testimony. Father, please be near to everybody today. Father, fill us with simcha, with joy. And let us walk it out in faith with emunah. If people would see our works, they would see our light and come to know you. That we would be a good witness for how amazing you are. Father, lead us not into temptation. Don't let us get distracted by the world or by circumstance. Keep us focused on you. Father, Yah, let no weapon formed against us prosper. Please put a hedge of protection around these people and convict them with your Ruach HaKodesh to do your will and speak your word. Move us about the battle space however you see fit. Let us fearfully and wonderfully proclaim your name. Father Yah, if there's anything within the sound of my voice, anything in me that's not of you, we come together in agreement and rebuke it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and command it to flee. Father, please give us strength and power and authority in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Give us this day our daily bread. Make your face to shine upon us that we would experience your shalom, your peace. Father, please bless these people today. Protect them today and provide for them today. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Well, all right. That's the show. Y'all have a blessed day. I'll see you when I see you. Also, there's another podcast episode coming out later today, so please stay tuned for that. That's me and my brother Jody talking about everything, faith and life and family, and yeah. Yep. And those are very shareable. It's all very shareable. If it's on YouTube, it's shareable. If it's on Patreon, it's not. Y'all have a blessed day. Shalom.